Hey, hey, hey. Shabbat Shalom, family. Shalom. It's your Aqua. Jackie Selah. Welcome to my channel. This is the series that I call Beacon of the Week. Now, before I get started, always we have to do our copyright disclaimer, which falls under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism. There's no criticism here. Not on our beacons. It's just positive commentary on the teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is the use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing, y'all. All right, so the beacon of the week in these YouTube streets is just my way of saying Tawada or thank you, and puts a spotlight on the works of my people who fall under the identities of, loosely, Indelible Bruise, the Tenacious 12, the Unstoppable Nagas, the Copper-Colored Indigenous Americans, or the fresh and flourishing children of the Most High in these YouTube streets. All right, and so with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. All right, y'all. So I'm doing something a little bit different. Usually I will highlight a channel as the beacon of the week, but this time it's going to be um, not channel specifically, because if I said the channel would be disingenuous, because honestly, I don't watch these channels on a regular basis. I don't know enough about them to say anything about their channels. However, I have watched their work on a certain subject matter, and I thought it was just very well done. And for that reason, um, these people have made my list as beacons of the week. Subject matter is King James, and these are the channels. Thank you. All right, so the subject matter is this dude right here. Good old King James. You know anything about King James? I know lately the truth has come out. We know that he was a brother. He wasn't that image that they like to show, the whitewashed version. So we know that much. But if you want to know a little bit more about King James and what went on over in the European dynasty, which it is very relevant to us over here in the Americas, because the invasion that led to our downfall, very much King James and that dynasty was involved in that. So let's get to know a little bit about King James. All right, first up, this is our Ak, who is not new to this channel. It's our brother here in Mayo, Ohio. The name of this video is The Black Jacobites, John Mackey. Description of the Jacobites' complexion from an old book, 1733. So hey, let's just get started. What you got to tell us about King James, Curie Mayo?
Much love and respect to everybody in the chat. I hope you guys like this video, but
Respect
I
back.
think it's very important and very crucial information. I think it was a great find. Thank you to the websites out there on the internet that bring in these awarenesses to us. Realhistory.www, I believe, is the website where it's showing always these Black Europeans. I found a great book in there. And today I just want to remind everybody of what we've been learning, basically about indentured servitude and even white servitude and white slavery. I've been always mentioning there's Black Europeans. We know we got a lot of different YouTube channels teaching us this. Very good videos out there. It's Medicine Man's and all that. Many others out there. And if you saw my video, Columbus and his Negro friends, my more videos, you can see that we know that it was Black Europeans. All right. I found a book basically describing the complexion of a lot of these Europeans. In particular, we're going to be talking about the Jacobites, right? The people who were supporting King James and what they were being described as looking like. All right. So this image right here, this another Black European. This is supposed to be the Holy Roman Emperor Charles V. All right, Charles V, the Holy Roman Emperor Charles V. All right, we also got an Inca painting of during the Inca times of the 1500s to show Charles V also as a black man, and the Incas as well. So, a lot of correlation, and it starts making sense when we start finding real primary sources and scholarly books written in these contemporary times. The book we're about to read is 1733. All right. But before we begin, I just want to go ahead and read, something that I've read before in a lot of videos, and it has to do with something Benjamin Franklin said. All right, so before I begin the video, I wanted to remind everybody this information, this book that I went over, something Benjamin Franklin said that we need to really pay attention to, right? So the book is called Observations Concerning the Increase of Mankind, People of Countries, by Benjamin Franklin. All right, Benjamin Franklin wrote this. All right, this is from 1755. All right, and we're on page 10 of this book. And this is what Benjamin Franklin says point 24, which he's making observations. Right, he's given, which leads me to add one remark. He says that the number of purely white people in the world is proportionally very small. It's very small. You're the minority. All Africa is black or tawny. Asia chiefly tawny. All right, tawny, a dark complexion, right? Not white. America exclusive of the newcomers. Holy soul. All right, what is that saying? America is what? Black or tawny. Holy soul. Except the new people, the newcomers, meaning that the aboriginals that were already there is wholly what? Black or tawny. All right, Benjamin Franklin, and in Europe, the Spaniards, Italians, French, Russians, Swedes are generally of what we call swarthy complexion. Swarthy. Now, just in case you don't know what swarthy is, just a quick reminder, we're here in the American Dictionary of the English language. All right. This is actually Webster's 1828 dictionary. All right, I got the official PDF. We're going to go all the way to the word swarthy. All right, and right here it says swart, right? Almost sounds like steward. Swart, steward, swart, steward. Is that what they get the steward? Did it mean black or dark? What is swart? It's being of dark hue, moderately black, tawny, swarth. All right. Down here it says swart, to make tawny or brown. Swart, an apparition. Swartly. All right, duskly with a tawny hue. It says swartness, tawniness, a dusky or dark complexion. Dark complexion, right? Dark complexion, swarthy, being of a dark hue, dusky complexion. Tawny, in warm climates, the complexion of men is universally what? Swarthy or what? Black in warm climates. Is there only warm climates in Africa? No, we have warm climates all over the world, right? The Moors, Spaniards, and Italians are more swarthy than the French, Germans, and English. It says their swarthy hosts were dark in all our plains. Swarthy. All right, black as the Swarthy African, it says, right? As the Swarthy African. So the African Swarthy, right? Swarthy is a tawny color. Swartish, somewhat.
Okay, let me just pause it right there for a second. So really, I said that this week I was featuring channels that I don't watch. With obviously Curry Mayo is a channel. He was our beacon last week. But the reason I put Carrie Mayo in here is because I just wanted to start it off to, for those that still have not made their mind over to understand that when you are talking about um, European history, you know, in what they call the Dark Ages, um, up until the into the 1800s, we are not talking about Caucasian people. We are not talking about white people. We are talking about melanated people. And you have to make your mind over that when we talk about this, all this that popped off between England and America and Spain and whatnot, stop thinking that's white people, because that is not the case. And so I've started it off with Karen Mayo's video, uh, just to help you reset your mind. Okay, so you got it. Tawny, swarthy. Ben Franklin complained about all the tawny people over here in America, and he wanted more white folks. So that's what it was. When they got here, it was the copper colored people, and tawny, swarthy people rather. Okay, so here, so there you got it, swarthy. Now I'm gonna move it up a little bit, just so he's going to get into showing you some depictions of people and how the mainstream portrays it versus the originals. Pop up here, man.
Now I just wanted to see the picture they're showing here. All right, do you see that? All right, we see a white guy, right? A little bit of curly hair. A little bit of curly hair. Right? He got some curls in his hair. All right, all right, all right. But we got a white guy, right?
Big.
Now we're gonna go ahead, all right, and get to this part of the book where it describes what he looks like. It says he is of middle stature, well shaped, and very black complexion. Very black complexion. A lover of music and poetry, of good judgment but reason, of great hesitation in his speech, wants expression. He is about 42 years old. Alright, what is he? Very black complexion. Alright? The Duke of Somerset. Yet in Wikipedia we're finding something else, right? It's showing us a white guy here. So dodge the hijack. This is a later on painting. And look what he's pointing at. Look at the subliminal on this. All right, let me just try to zoom in so you guys can see this. All right, he's pointing at the so-called Negro. So this is by Seymour over here. They're showing him. Why is he pointing at him? Do you see the trickery? He's pointing at the so-called Negro man, child or person over here. Who's the real Charles Duke of Somerset? Why is he pointing at him? All right,
Dog
they're
looking at him
lying
like he
because
crazy.
he's again very black complexion. I remember this is historically accurate what he's writing. He's a spy and he's writing to King William. Very black complexion. The next person we're gonna talk about, he's gonna describe is Sidney Lord Godolphin, Lord High Treasurer, a treasurer of England. Before we go to him, what do we say in Wikipedia? Sidney Godolphin, first Earl of Godolphin, Secretary of State, Northern Department, First Lord of the Treasury. We're talking about the same person here. But check out the image. Look at the image. They're showing us a white guy. Alright, before we read the description, with this person right here, would you think he's in any way dark skin or of a dark complexion or black or swarthy, tan, even a little bit brown? Do you see any of that here in this painting? No, right? But
No,
check out the curls again. You see the wigs, the curls,
what
the
sheep did they
curls. Look at
shave for
that.
that with?
Oh, they gotta add something.
Mm,
Is
mm,
he
mm.
pointing at a so-called Negro too? No, I guess he's not. But now let's read what he looks like in reality. We're gonna go. All right, so it talks about him. It says he has an admirable, clear understanding of slow speech with an awful serious deportment, thus more than he promises
Okay,
enemy.
we can see thin. He didn't look that thin, but maybe the blouses he was wearing made him look bigger, but with a very black and stern countenance. Okay, I don't know, but this is going to go on. He's going to show you example after example of the descriptions of black or swarthy people and the depictions being of very pale pink or dare I say white people. Well, I want to move it up again because there's one last point that Curie Mayo brought out that I thought was important to understand. Let's see. Okay, right here is this.
Just gonna continue with this. Now we're going back in the book because this book also has a lot of descriptions of them being brown, yeah, brown complexion. So it says this is John, Duke of the Buckinghamshire and Lord Privy Seal, very important person in those times. He was made Lord Chamberlain by King James, so very supportive of King James. He was there during that whole thing, and says that for notwithstanding his interests at court, he is certain he has none in either House of Parliament or in the country. He is of middle stature, of a brown complexion, with four lofty look, with a sour lofty look, near 60 years old. So he's a brown complexion. So this is what Wikipedia has for John Sheffield, first Duke of Buckingham, all right, the Lord Privy Seal. At court, he took the side of Duke of York and helped to bring about Monmouth's disgrace. All right, Duke of York, and this is a picture they got of him right here. Let's
Mm,
zoom in. So does he look brown complexion to you?
no,
Does
no,
this person?
no. Okay, so that's a we know that the Europeans, the Stuart dynasty, all of that, those were melanated people. All right, what the swarthy, tawny, copper colored, brown. These were descriptions. Okay, not their identities. Like they try to make black our identity. These were just merely descriptions of what people look like. Okay, and so with that, we're gonna continue onto looking at who King James was. So thank you very much, Curie Mayo. On to the next. Right, the name of this channel is called Milestone Investing. Um, the name of this video is Stuart Dynasty of Britain in the Raw. Hidden Truth Revealed. Once again, I'm saying thank you to these channels. I do not know them. Um, I don't know the whole content of their work. I just know this video is well done. And the reason that I this video is that I just wanted to piggyback off of what Curie Mayo was reading from, which is that the writings of John Mackey. Uh, this brother here on this channel will also be focusing from that book. Um, the, of the spy John Mackey. He's giving his eyewitness account of the Jacobites, the Stuart dynasty, so on and so forth. And with that being said, let's go.
Miles in the Raw. We were going to talk about the Stuart dynasty. Now, a man called John Mackey wrote a book called The Memoirs of the Secret Services. So, who is John Mackey? Well, John Mackey was the equivalent of James Bond in the late 1600s,
Yeah.
17th century. He was like James Bond. So he was spying on the royal family. Why was he spying on the royal family? For this, I want to share my screen. So if I talk you through what we're looking at, we're looking at the House of Stuart. So after
All right.
Henry
So
the
he's literally, and this is very good. And I hope you come back, if you're interested in this, just to get an understanding of the House of Stuart. He's going to break it down to you. He's got it who actually ruled but you'll get to know the characters of the Stuart dynasty, and it's a good thing. It's a very important part of your history, whether you know it or not. I mean, it could be genetically important, or just definitely historically important to know the truth about what happened. So he's going to go through the House of Stuart. He's going to go through the same thing that Kara Mayo went through about the descriptions of them being swarthy or dark complected or black complected or brown. He's going to go through that again. So there you go. We just building a case, and the evidence is being reiterated. Um, so people are seeing the same thing. So let's see. I want to come up around here. And I don't remember why, but we're about to see together why.
When I first read this, I thought, come on, Google, you're just making stuff up. So I bought it from Amazon, by the way. And I said, Amazon, you're making stuff up. This can't possibly be true. It's not possible. So I said, if this was an authentic book, guess where it would be? It'd be in the British Library. Would you agree?
Yeah, that's why. That's why. Because I just wanted to show you he's going to, kind of in some ways to authenticate the importance of this book.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
absolutely.
So I'm a member of the British Library.
Mhm.
With my membership card, I go to the British Library and I say to them, can I see the original Memoirs of John Mackey, 1733? And I asked for it twice, right? So I ordered 2 different copies of the same book.
Okay.
And they said, yes, sir, we can't give it to you today because you've got to book it in advance. But if you come back tomorrow, we'll have it ready for you. Because certain books are just not on display. They have to go and get them from wherever they happen to locate them. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I ordered them. I went next day and I had 2 copies of this book. And I brought this in with me.
Okay.
And I compared the text between this version and the physical books I had,
The
the originals.
Yeah.
And they were identical.
So it's translated verbatim.
In other words, this is a true photocopy of the original.
Okay.
Because this obviously is not the original, it's a photocopy.
Okay.
But I saw the original, and the original and this are identical. So that led me to the conclusion that this is not a fake and a forgery. Now, does it prove that the one in the British Library is not a fake and a forgery? Well, it could be. But I also noticed that this book is also in the Royal Archives. Would they have a book in the Royal Archives that's a fake? Well, the royal family don't need to have a fake book of their family lineage.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Because they're likely to kind of keep it a bit authentic. And so, even though everyone talks about Sophia, Queen Charlotte being dark complected,
Yeah.
nobody talks about King Charles being dark complected, or Charles I, or James I, or James II. They don't talk about that. But guess what? According to him, they were.
All right. And so I'm going to stop that one right there. Once again, was a good video to really break down who the players are in the House of Stuart. Again, just reiterating also the fact that these are melanated people. And there you have it. So shout out to Milestone Investing for a very nice, to the point video on the Stuarts. All right, let's move on to the next video we want to highlight. This is coming from the channel called Re-Educated TV. Um, Again, we are shouting out these brothers and sisters for the work that they have done and um, made public and available for people to see regarding King James of the Stuart dynasty. Yes, the King James from that version of the Bible. Um, and he was the last uh, black king of Scotland, the last king of Scotland. All right, here we go. Re-Educated TV, King James, the infant king. Go ahead, bruh.
Hey, 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 hey! It's
Hey, hey, hey.
Re-Educated TV, where we keep you informed, on your toes, and thinking, of course. Today, we will be covering King James, the infant king.
Blackety black
Here,
King James.
we have two paintings of King James, the original and the English version. What I would define as being fake. Let's get straight to it. King James the First biography. Keywords. King James the First biography. Stuart, James, Charles, James the Sixth and First, an infant king. James Charles Stuart was born on June 19th, 1566 at Edinburgh Castle in Scotland. His father, Lord Darnley, was murdered in early
Henry
1567
Stewart, Lord
before
Darnley.
young James was 1 year old. His mother, Mary Queen of Scots, was soon afterwards forced to abdicate the Scottish throne due to her suspected involvement in the murder. Little James was crowned King James VI of Scotland at the tender age of 13 months. Reformation leader John Knox preached the sermon at his coronation. James' mother, Mary, was imprisoned in England by her cousin Queen Elizabeth, and 19 years later, in February of 1587, was executed for her part in a Roman Catholic conspiracy to assassinate Queen Elizabeth.
Now, uh, Mary, she was about that life, wasn't she? Mary, Queen of Scots. Dang. I mean, she was just killing off folks and trying to kill off folks, boy. All right, go ahead.
And so, like many monarchs of the time, King James was reared by neither father nor mother, although he did maintain an ongoing correspondence with his mother. He said that she never tried to convert him to her religion. Of his four tutors, perhaps one of the most influential was George Buchanan, a staunch Calvinist. It was under Mr. Buchanan's strict teaching methods that King James became one of the most learned and intellectually curious men to ever sit on any throne. Mr. Buchanan was 64 years old when he began tutoring the young king.
All right, so um, a Calvinist. Let me just read the definition because that's important to know that he was really kind of under the guardianship of this man who was a Calvinist, which is a derivative of the Protestant religion. All right, so Calvinism was in direct opposition, of course, to Catholicism, which was the problem. Calvinism, the theological system of Calvin and his followers, marked by strong emphasis on the sovereignty of God, the depravity of humankind, and the doctrine of predestination. All right, so there you have it. So this is the man who did a lot of the guidance for King James, as his father was dead and his mother was executed. And when he was very young, and he was raised, and also very scholarly and studied. And so that was the raising of King James. Now I'm going to move this up a little bit. And again, I'm not sure why, but we'll see. Here we go. Okay, let's go.
Little confusing because of your Western education. But this is the truth that is known by the rich and the elite in the world. The truth is, King James came from a long line of black Scottish Stuart kings. 343 years of rulership in Scotland. The Stuarts not only ruled in Scotland, they ruled France, Spain, Ireland, and England, Britain, Wales. King James was able to rule all of these lands because all of these people were of Iberian black descent.
All right. So I'm going to stop it right there. Hopefully you'll dig on it, because literally these three channels that I'm featuring, um, the videos are very good. So once again, we have Milestone Investing, uh, these brother and sister over in England breaking down the Stuart dynasty. Um, Very good way to get to understand the Stuarts. Then we have here Re-Educated TV, who's coming with the biography of King James from his birth, on up. So another good way to really come to understand uh, who Blackety Black King James is. Now here we go to our third channel I wanted to highlight. Now this sister right here, I gotta say, I watch more than one video on her channel, but I don't know enough about the channel. It would be disingenuous for me to pop off and say the whole channel is the beacon, but definitely this sister has done some wonderful work on the ties between the Black European history and us over here and who we are, because some of us is from Black Europeans. We're descendants of Black Europeans. Some of us are descendants of the indigenous people here. Some people, it's a lot of us, and we're not all the same. Okay. And until you really like dig into your family history and go back in those records and stuff, you can't be really sure. Um, oral history is a lot, but she's about getting to these records, and she's uncovered some stuff, and it's really interesting. Now, this one, we're sticking to the subject matter because we're talking about King James. I'm going to do a part two where we're going to get more talking about who the Jacobites are and what that was about. But for now, I'm really just trying to, for the few people that's left that don't understand that when you're talking about that time period, those were melanated people, okay? It was melanated people coming over here and being colonizers. But also, it was a lot of people being sent over here as punishment, too. So you got to dig in. You got to get to know the truth of what it is. It's not what they told you. It's not what they told you. All right. So Let's get it started with our sister. The name of this channel is called Truth Uncompromised. The title of the video is The Black Stewards Dynasty Changed to White. I should mention, as usual, I will put the links to all of the videos that I show today, and plus I got a bonus video. I will put all of those links down below, and hope that if you want to know more about King James, you'll click on these videos. When you're done watching them, you will definitely know more. You'll have sources if you want to go and dig and put your own eyes to the pages. You'll be able to do it, because that's all I'm going to show over here is people who actually come with the sources and are willing to share. Okay, so here we go with our good sister, Truth Uncompromised. Let's go. Get it, sis.
This is Rhonda with WTUZ Radio Podcast, and today's show, wow. Okay, I stumbled across some information probably about a week ago. I've been working on this on and off, and I stumbled upon this information inadvertently, by mistake, in other words. I was looking at this book, who this author was talking about her heritage of being a steward. And of course, I was interested based on the research that I do. So I pulled the book up, started reading through it, and based on the information she was providing, I knew that it was not accurate. So that required me to start doing some research to validate the associated heritage she had, because she was putting the steward name with Caucasians, and she was giving the explanation on how her particular steward lineage came over to the Americas. And once I checked the records, I definitely found her particular relative, and I'm not going to reveal her particular record, although she made it public. I'm not going to do that out of respect, because she did write a book, an entire book around this lineage, and I did not find that to be true. Okay, her folks did come over, that particular one relative, but it was in the role of a servant, not in the role that she claimed.
Okay, so again, so it ain't just us that had this mindset to think that they were white folks. And so that's why this woman that wrote this whole book just assumed that the steward meant that was her bloodline. Well, no, her people were actually servants. Okay, so this is why I want you to understand. The people was coming over here as servants. They came out because the stewards got exiled. They got kicked out and got sent over here. That was their punch. They was like, get up out of here. And a whole bunch of people they told to get up out of here. The people they done, the undesirables that they didn't want. People who had to serve out their criminal sentences and stuff like that. That's really what happened. Okay. So anyway, so I just wanted to point that out, that this Caucasian lady wrote a whole book proud of her being a steward, but it wasn't a bloodline thing. It was a servitude role. So that's what I'm saying. Make your mind over. Okay, it's gonna help a whole lot as you learn the true history, the true story. I'm not going to even say his story, because his story is a lie. All right, continue on, sis.
Of the steward dynasty. So as I was searching through the records, trying to verify what she was saying that I knew not to be true regarding the stewards, I ran across actual stewards lineage. And it took me some time to dig through to determine if I had one particular steward that I saw show up on the list. I'm like, okay, that can't be who I think it is. So let me share a little technology here. And we are going to get to it. Okay. All right. So we're literally looking at the passenger list coming into the Americas. And as you can see, I searched on the name Stewart, and I went back. Well, I forgot how far back I went. I think it was the 1500s. I guess I did, because if you click here, there you go. Okay, so what I saw, first name on that list, James Stewart. Arrival, 1685. Okay, so I'm like, well, there's many stewards, right? Many stewards. It could be any one of that bloodline, or it could be someone taking on the name of Stewart, this, that, and the third. So I hovered over this record, and it says that James Stewart arrived 1685, New Jersey. So he came to New Jersey, primary immigrant. James Stewart gives the publication search code. Now, I could not find the 1685 ship manifest, and it does not surprise me. I could not find it online. I will probably have to go to the UK, which I want to make a trip back there anyway. So that may be one of my voyages. I may have to spend a few more days to see if I could get to some of these ship manifest records. But nonetheless, it is saying here, you see where it says annotation, names of Scottish prisoners ordered deported to plantations in East New Jersey. And so it gives, the list appears, and that's where I was trying to get that ship manifest out of the Glasgow Blackie 1830 edition. And the only records as far back that you can get online are the 1800s. And so meaning ship manifests. They only go back online to the 1800s, and I need to go back to the 1600s. Okay. But nonetheless, it's giving the exact place where to find the ship manifest, even down to the name of the ship. Okay, so I did the next best thing, and I am so glad I did, child. Because when I tell you I got that good, I got the good. So I dropped down and I looked at where it says source biography. And let me see if I could just click into this so you all can see it a little bit more. Okay. All right. So I couldn't, the actual online record, there isn't any online records going back to 1685. So that, you know, from a ship manifest perspective. So I couldn't get the actual ship list with the Boyer, because they even give you the ship passenger list. Okay. All right. So anybody that's doing your own genealogy, when you're trying to cross-reference folks that you see show up as your relatives over from Europe, all of that stuff is documented. The only thing would be, like in this case, as far back as you go, some of that information is not online. You have to physically go to the place or request a record search. And I'm assuming this is going to maybe be a difficult passenger list to get. I don't know. Okay. But just to give you a little tip. All right. So that's that. So I'm still like, okay, is this King James, the last King James Stewart that sat on the throne. So I dropped down to where it says the sources. So I said, okay, let me see if I could pull this up. And it's the Robert Woodrow list of Scots prisoners deported to New Jersey. The history of the suffering of the Church of Scotland. Okay, so that part I could do. All right, so before I literally pulled this book and started going through it, and it dropped some jewels. All right, and just one last thing with this record, you see down here when it talks about household members, it just says James Stewart. So it's only listing him as the only household member. All right, so hold on to that thought because I have a whole theory about this when we get to it. Okay, so let me go to just to give you a little quick Wikipedia-ish. We can do this for given who King James is. Okay, the last King James. All right, so now we know this is not King James. We already done known that's not him. This is the real King James. Okay, we have plenty of pictures now. Those that rock with me, those that rock with Kui Mayo, those that rock with Legendary Top Cat. This picture should not be a shock to you all. This is the real King James. Okay? All right. And this is just one of them, okay? That one thing about it, they had a lot of picture of the last Jacobite, King James Stewart. There's a lot of pictures out there with him. Okay, and then as bonus material, I'm going to once again put some more pictures together at the end just to remind you who his parents are, which I think I got him here. Yeah, so those are his parents. Put King Williams in and a couple of those other queens. So I'm going to put together as bonus material just some more pictures of the folks that we're going to be talking about in this particular subject on how the black stewards became white. All right, so that'll be in the bonus material, and you once again see all of these melanated people. Okay, so just real quick, James the second and the seventh was King of England and King of Ireland as James II and King of Scotland as James the seventh. From the death of his elder brother Charles II. Charles II, melanated also. I'll include a picture of blood. Let's see if they show one here. Yeah, and I guess they were struggling trying to. You see where they tried to whiten him up, but I got some nice little pictures showing King Charles. All right. So he from the death of his elder brother Charles II on February 1685. Okay. He was disposed in the Glorious Revolution of 1688. So meaning he was straight up kicked out. So he was the last reigning steward to sit on the throne. He was the last Catholic monarch of England, Scotland, and Ireland. His reign is now remembered primarily for the struggles over religious tolerance. However, it also involved struggles over the principles of absolutism and divine rights of kings. His disposition ended a century of political and civil strife by confirming the primacy of Parliament over the crown. James inherited the thrones of England, Ireland and Scotland from his brother with widespread support in all three countries, largely because the principles of eligibility based on divine right and birth were widely accepted. Okay, so in other words, you could gain the throne or sit on the throne, on the crown, because of your bloodline. Tolerance for his personal Catholicism did not extend to tolerance toward Catholicism in general, and the English and Scottish parliaments refused to pass his measures. When James attempted to impose them by decree, this was met with opposition. Thus, it was a political principle rather than a religious one that ultimately led to his removal.
There you go.
Okay.
All right. Now I'm going to move it up a little bit to finish this out. She's going to go into another writing. It's a correspondence of an eyewitness. We like that because you get some honest drops when people are just talking. All right, pop off, sis. This is the correspondence of Robert Woodrow.
All right, so they're talking about the Jacobites still trying to get them back on the throne. It's going to be harder because they're scattered, so meaning they got kicked out. They're in different places, okay? So they didn't just not come to the America's mainlands. They also went to the Caribbeans in the Americas. Pretty much you could say all over the world, to be honest. Okay, but I'm just focusing on America. All right, and sometimes I am ready to fear it may be sent as much for the relief as it may be for ours in Scotland till we better prepare for the mercy. I observe the name. I shall not say, in brackets, the race of the, and he blotted out the name, stewards, but he left the S, he blotted out the rest, and he put the TS. Boom. This right here, people. Let's see if I can highlight this. I showed in the heck doggone can. He's telling you how the steward's name was whitewashed. So he is telling you in this memoir. He know they black. He know what they race is. So right here, we could see, for whatever reason, I don't know if that was a part of the exile agreement. That I don't know. Maybe that was a part of the exile agreement with the King James, the last steward sitting on that throne. That it would be stricken out the records of what their race is. Or it was stricken out the records to hide identity. I don't know. But like we've been done telling y'all how stuff was whitewashed, well, blood just said it. So let's continue to the next page. Stewards, plural, at an inn, I notice we are now very much obliged to their marriages with Protestant families, as we have been, and perhaps yet more may be, plagued for their and their daughters marrying with Papists. I observed it from this. We have had the revolution and this second revolution by marriage with Protestants abroad, sore against our king's will. Okay. I cannot but notice the father's apostastion, or whatever that is, apostatizing from, if he was not bred a papist, our holy reformation, and justly turned out of our throne, and his two daughters standing firm to our religion, and both of them enjoying the throne he was justly deprived of. So still talking about getting kicked out, and yet both childless. And the line ending in the seed of only the papists we have been plagued with since the Reformation. Okay, so whoever his two daughters were, I guess they didn't have any children. They was probably scared to have children, that they was going to be taken out. I know I would have been if I was them. Okay, but nonetheless, he's pretty much saying that they were forced into marriage to Protestants abroad. So I don't know if it was forced or if it's so much they started marrying into the Protestants for protection. Okay, because this particular last of the steward was he was Catholic religion. Okay, and you got to remember, this isn't so much about he want to practice Catholicism over Protestant or the protesters, because that's really what Protestant is. It's not about religious worship. Okay, I know that's what the records tell you, but it's really about which kingdom you are aligning yourself with. Because the church held much political power. They were the political power, to be honest. Okay? So that's what that was really about. Okay? All right. How far the children's teeth were set on edge by the sour grapes the father ate, I am not to determine. I cannot but mind the old and odd tale of our James V. So, child, I had read all past that, so this is confirming that he's talking, no doubt about it, talking about King James. From what spirit it came in plain enough at the birth of Queen Mary. It came by a lass, and it will go by a lass. I reckon we lost our religion in some measure by the union of the crowns. And the Scots kingdom went off in her son when he went to England. And in the last of that race. Excuse me, y'all. So let me just read that again. Let me just reread that again. I reckon we lost our religion in some measure by the union of the crowns, and the Scots kingdom went off in her son when he went to England. Because remember, King James Stewart, the last one sitting in that seat, was the king of Scotland, Ireland, and England. When he went to England, and in the last of that race, so I'll pause right there. Because remember, back just a few little sentences up, I'll just go back up, so I should remember. He said, I observed the name, I shall not say the race of the S. Stewart. And then he said TS.
All right, I'm going to stop it right there. So, very interesting. Very interesting time, otherwise known as the Dark Ages. Um, and the Stuart dynasty. It's an important part of our history. So I hope you dig on it. For those who are still repeating old narratives and they think when you talk about that time period, the 1300s through the 1800s, that it was white people, they were not. Um, if you still hold on to that old narrative that we have our slave masters' names, uh, no, we had our own names. In fact, some of the white servants had black slave masters' names. So let's get it right. But you got to dig on it. You got to dig on it. All right, so there you have it, y'all. Oh, blackety black King James. We want to say thank you to our beacons, Carrie Mayo, Milestone Investing, Re-Educated TV, and Truth Uncompromised. Dawada, as we say, that means thank you. We appreciate the work. We really do. All right, so that is our beacon of the week. As I always say, I am not here to convince anybody of anything, to try to change your mind, but just offer another perspective. And if you have questions about any of these subject matters, here's an opportunity for you to learn and to learn from our own people because we have our own scholars. We have our own researchers, our own teachers. We have our own inquisitive, bright minds who have done research uh, and are willing to share. You know, that reminds me, I'm just going to say something real quick that the other day I had some time and so I clicked on YouTube, not looking for anything in particular, but just scrolling through, I guess you would call it my timeline, my algorithm that never usually doesn't have channels I actually subscribe to for some reason. But I came across a channel, and obviously this brother was his topic, his main content was about us as indigenous people. So I clicked on it. Don't remember what it was about, but it was intriguing enough for me to click on. And literally, he spent probably the first 5 7 minutes complaining about how other people were making videos on the same subject matter as he was. And I just thought that was the most egotistical, selfish thing ever. Now, I will say that the video was from like 5 years ago. So hopefully, that brother has changed his mind, has matured because the information is not yours. I mean, and honestly, if you got an attitude like that, like, you want a bunch of praise, we thank you. We thank you. But it doesn't belong to you, it belongs to the people. And if you have an attitude like you don't want to see other people talking about it or presenting it, you damn sure ain't no Moshe. Because if you're trying to free the people, you want the people to get the information. All right. So I you know, I just wanted to say that. So thank you to everybody who's digging our information. And we don't care if somebody else put it out. Keep putting it out there because I just ran across that brother's channel last week. So if I hadn't learned it from Curie Mayo and Con Drop and Nine Spiral and UBTV and Aob Nazir and Truth Uncompromised, then I would still be dumb. All right, so That's that. So Tawada to my brothers and sisters. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. I hope you had a beautiful Shabbat. I hope you have a wonderful week. Thank you for joining me. Next week, hopefully, we'll, Most High willing, we'll talk a little bit more about the Jacobites. And until then, our praises to the Most High. Shalom.